All right, there we go. And we're going to record. All right, awesome. Who wants to share their positive focus? Oh, looks like we got a couple in the chat. I'll read these. Otherwise, you guys are welcome to unmute them or unmute and say them yourself. So Augustine said, I got 2 people to join my downline since the last production mastermind. Really good job. Congratulations to you. Joe said 366 hour smoke free. Oh my gosh, good job. And just received third-part approval from PennyMac on a short sale after 65 days. Really good job. That's like 2 really good positive focus. Congratulations. Good work. Philip said 1 property in escrow. Nice. Good job. We love properties under contract. Really great. What else you guys got going on? Anybody have something really good like an open house that produced some leads for you that are promising? Or I was at a meeting last week for our realtor association, and it was called Old School. And the guy mentioned how he used to door knock quite a bit in the beginning of his career. And I think he was given an example of actually what Tom Hopkins used to do, but he said he would do the same. And he would knock on the door, and if the guy like slammed the door in his face and said like, get out of here, he'd walk around to the back side of the house and knock on the back door. And I just had to laugh because I was like, could you imagine doing that today? Like, you don't go to the back door and knock if they slammed the door on your face. On the front. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, that, hey, whatever works, right? Michael said 3 under contract. Nice work. Michael, do you want to unmute and just tell us like where those people came from? We'd love to hear if you're able to.
2 were lender referrals and 1 was from an open house.
Nice. So that's really interesting. I don't hear a lot about lender referrals much as, you know, like we used to, right? There used to be tons of lender referrals. So is this someone that you work closely with, you stay in touch with? How is that relationship that they were able to give you some referrals?
We actually went to high school together. We've been friends for many years, and we work hand in hand. He helps a few others out, but you know, we're still kind of the close-knit group.
I love it. It's relationships, right? It's all about relationships. So that's good. I love it. Very good. Yeah, right? Michael Jackson, like coolest name ever for an agent. Kathy said, I got to buy and sell from one of the guys. I go to my car meetups in the $400,000 range for a 1031 exchange. That is awesome. So again, another place where you're showing up, being you, right? High school, a car meetup, and cultivating those relationships. So really good job, guys. I love it. All right, let's share a couple more. Love to hear from a couple more of you on some positive focus on your business. Okay, Sohail said 7 new listings, 2 under contract, and working on bringing a big team to my organization. Very cool, Sohail. Good job. And Sohail is a consistent prospector. Is that where these listings came from, Sohail? Were they some prospecting, some?
Yeah. And I was telling Lars yesterday, but you never know what's on the other end of a door or on the other end of a call, because one of the guys I called, it just came off the market. He was listed with one of the top 10 agents in Chicago. And he was kind of fed up. I went over there. Turns out he's a big developer, and he's kind of like, he's a big developer. He's working on this crazy cryptocurrency that it's going to be new to the market. And he has $90 million in commercial real estate listings that he doesn't want to deal with, and he wants me to take them over.
What? Is this fake news? That sounds like fake news. I'm just kidding.
Listen, I thought it was. It goes beyond that, which I'm not gonna, I'll share with you on another call. Because
Yeah.
this guy, the guy's also super politically connected. And in a way where you could write a book about it. So I'll just leave it at that.
This is awesome. Good for you. So you're right. You never know.
Never know.
So this was like a prospecting call?
That was a prospecting call. The rest of them is a combination of past clients, which I prospect, past clients, canceled expireds. Yeah, for the most part.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait for you to do that dollar per hour calculation after you close all these properties. It's going to be like $1.2 million per hour. Awesome job. Really good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, let's see. Lori said, I won a $1.6 million expired listing by sending a Loom video to the homeowner showing my team's production versus other agents' production that was being considered. And I demonstrated how many high-end listings we've closed using our MLS. She called me back and said, hands down, she knew she would hire us. Lori, that is so good. Very awesome. 1.6 million, and just showing them why it matters that they hire a professional like you guys who have production in that area and how many homes you've sold, giving them examples instead of just saying it. Good job. Look at all these fires. I love it. Rachel said, licensed late last year and had my first 2 closings last month. Good job. That's awesome. It's February. You are on a good trajectory. So we are here cheering for you. Very great. Richard said, so very simple. Just letting folks know I do real estate now. Had a buyer consult call tomorrow night with them and his dad who's helping them with down payment and financing. Really good. And it's good that you're kind of having these conversations, right? Like consultations. Sometimes we skip that step. And I think consultations are like the most important. And especially when they have a parent helping them, right? You got to get them all on the same page as to how we help them with real estate. Andrew said, I'm happy to share I've been licensed for 7 months in Fort Collins. I thankfully have 2 listings already. One was under contract in 3 days and the other has had a ton of showings. I also have a set of buyers that are under contract, so I'm seeing some traction. And I've also read more books this month. Oh wait, I've also read more books than months I've been licensed, specifically on the profession. I love reading and feel it's important. Andrew, really great, and it's working. Look at the business that you're doing. I love that you're reading about it, becoming a professional. So important. Really good work. See, it shows. You can be a new agent in this business and sell real estate. Don't fall into the trap of, you know, oh, I'm new. I don't know how to get business. I can't do it. Andrew's doing it. Rachel's doing it. Like business is being done, whether you're a new agent or you've been around for a bazillion years. So, all right. If you have positive focus and you think of it as we get started, type it in. We'll go over it at the end. Get ready, take some notes. We're going to go over the monthly market report. And again, one thing, if you find something that you love from this market report, do a screenshot. I'll also download the files like I always do, and I'll give them to you guys. I'm going to show you one thing really quick though, because we get this question often, and it is, oh, look, it's me again. It's where do I find these recordings? So if you are part of our Facebook group, we actually stream live. You can see it here. And so there's Xavier, he's watching. The recording is here for you if you're part of that group. If you are part of Real Estate B School, you'll log into your member portal and you will find it under, you scroll over at the top. Oops. Oh, did I click on the wrong one? I might have. Yes, I did. Sorry, hold on. Production Mastermind Training, and you will go there and everything we do is in here. So if you're part of Real Estate B School, that is where you will find your recording. If you are a guest with us today, then you won't have the recording, but you can connect with the person that invited you here. So, all right, let's go through this. And reminder, we are members of Keeping Current Matters. And so that's where we get this from. It is awesome. You should subscribe to it. They have lots of great things in here. You can see on the side, they've got blog posts, videos, social graphics, buyer and seller guides. I know people have mentioned that before. So lots of great things. You can subscribe at keepingcurrentmatters.com. We're not affiliates, nothing like that. Just go get your membership. It is definitely worth it. So we're going to watch the monthly market report here. And Richard, I want you to give me a thumbs up at the volumes. Okay.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is Steve Harney. I'm the founder of Keeping Current Matters, and I'm here with you today with the monthly market report for February 2024. Well, it looks like we're going to have a really good start to the year. I do believe that this year is going to be a very strong year. As I told you last month, I think it's going to be the year of the fives. I think that we're going to see about a 5% appreciation by the end of the year. I think that we're going to see mortgage rates by the middle of the year with a 5 handle and 5.99 counts. All right, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I also think that we'll do well over 5 million in transactions. Now, I know some of those projections are pretty aggressive. I realize that, but I still believe pretty strongly that with the definitely the support of the better agents out there, including the people that Keeping Current Matters members who are on this call, I think we have an opportunity to really move this market in a very, very positive way forward. In order to do that, the one thing I'm going to request you to do is never forget who you are and what it took to get here. You're the best of the best. You invest in yourself. You're a KCM member, meaning you invest in yourself financially. You're listening to this right now, meaning you invest in your education. That puts you at the top of the agents. A lot of agents don't invest in themselves financially. A lot of agents don't invest in themselves as far as getting better educated. You do. So don't forget who you are and the price you paid in order to get there. And go out there every single day dominating your local market. As you always say, most agents know what's happening. Good agents understand what's happening. Great agents can explain what's happening. You're one of the great agents. You get an education every single month at least through the monthly market reports. I hope that you're on the deep dives where we dive deep into some of these issues. You get the blog, you get social media posts, everything that you have right now at your disposal. One by one, if you don't use them all right now, one by one, start using them because we have to get the word out in a very big way. So let's start with home prices. And the reason I'm imploring you to really go out and share as much information as you can is because there's still a lot of misunderstanding that the public has as to what's taking place in the market right now. We had a very strong, we'll talk about this also in a second, we had a very strong year price-wise compared to what people projected. We're going to finish this year between 5 and 6% appreciation. All the final numbers aren't in yet, but it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark, and it might even be between 6 and 7 when everything is said and done. But that's not what the people are thinking. All right, and this is what I'm telling you. The narrative we must combat is that right now, 24%, at the latest Fannie Mae report, 24% of consumers still believe that prices are going to depreciate over the last 12 months. Now, normally that number is about half that amount. If we go back over the years of taking the survey, it shot up last fall when there was so much talk about there was going to be, Armageddon in the year 2023. All right, and it still hasn't gotten this. It's fallen off its highs of 37% from all those negative headlines, but they're still not back to where they should be. So that means that 1 out of 4 still believe prices will depreciate. So I want you to visualize what that means. That means that 1 out of every 4 of your neighbors think prices are going to fall. That means if you're at your child's soccer game, 1 out of 4 of the parents standing on the sidelines think prices are going to fall. If you're in the parking lot after services at your house of worship, all the congregants in the parking lot, 1 out of 4 of them think houses are going to fall. House prices are going to fall. It's our job to let them know what's really taking place in the market. It's crucial that we do that. There are enough doomers out there, there are enough people talking negative, there are enough people that are running a YouTube channel out of the basement of their mother's apartment, talking about Armageddon's here. They've predicted every single year because negative news sells, and every single year they're wrong. But every single year they have listeners, they have followers. And what we need to do is combat that as strong as we possibly can. So let's get into it. Current home appreciation. You see this chart over the months because I wanted you to truly understand what happens to house prices as the year goes on. Monthly appreciation at the beginning of the year is low. Houses appreciate very little. They appreciate, but not that high, not to that great a degree. Then as the buying season gears up, the level of appreciation increases rather dramatically. Then once summer passes, the level of appreciation decreases pretty dramatically. And as we look at November and December, we see it like in November, it's 0.1, that's the 49-year average, meaning some years it was a little bit above the zero, some years it was a little bit below the zero. And I told you this year that I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the year if some of those bars for 2023 were red, because they're so close to zero on the 49-year average. So let's take a look at, we have the numbers through November. The December numbers for the repeat sales indexes are not out yet, but let's look at the numbers through November. And sure enough, in the month of November, prices depreciated by 0.2%. Now, again, I've talked to you over the last couple of months that I anticipated that happening. Why did I anticipate that happening? Well, if you look at March, April, and May, you know, we were well above normal 49-year average appreciation. So those numbers had to get back in line. And we see as the year went on, they really did get very close to the 49-year average. We still had some to make up. It wouldn't surprise me if the December number might also be in a negative. It's going to be right around that zero, but you know what's going to happen. Headlines are going to say, oh, you know, prices were really good and now they're falling. No. They're doing pretty much what the 49-year average says they're going to do. And I'm not even sure they're going to fall. And I'll tell you for the month of December, for the year, they're definitely not. But and I'll tell you that in a second. But let's go to the Case-Shiller numbers. Here are the Case-Shiller numbers, seasonally adjusted. The last graph was non-seasonally adjusted. These are seasonally adjusted for the year. And what we can see is in January, we still had some depreciation. But all the way through to November, again, why is it positive here and it was negative in the last slide? Well, seasonally, they know that, well, this time of year, prices are supposed to have some sort of adjustment. And when they made those adjustments, they actually went up a little bit. Slightly confusing, all right? I agree with you 100%, but that's what the seasonal adjustment showed there. Now, I don't like giving you one example of, you know, a price index. So I want to give you also the FHFA. The numbers aren't exactly the same because they're looking at two different data sets. FHFA are all government backed loans, meaning, you know, the jumbo mortgages aren't included here. They would be included in the Case-Shiller numbers. So there is a little bit of difference as far as appreciation is concerned. But if we compare the two of them on one slide, we can see that the trend is about the same. Starts out slow, peaks, then comes down. All right. And that's, again, what happens every year in a normal year. Now, we came off a couple of years, 2020, 2021, and even parts of 2022, that were not normal. Here at KCM, we call them the unicorn years because they were so abnormal. And we had great runs during that period of time. And compared to that period of time, people might say, well, it's not as good as it used to be. Well, it's not as good as the unicorn years. I agree with that. We're going back to a normal market. And a normal market is exactly what we need right now, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly what we need. Now, what does this mean as far as prices are concerned so far this year? Well, the head of real and digital assets at S&P, who covers the Case-Shiller numbers, November's year-over-year gains saw the largest growth in U.S. home prices in 2023, with our national composite rising 5.1%. What they're saying is year-over-year for November, last month that they have numbers for, was greater than any other month prior to that. So right now, as of today, the prices in the country have risen 5.1%. That's the annual appreciation as of today. We're still looking for the December numbers to adjust that a little bit up or a little bit down. As far as the FHFA is concerned, house prices rose 6.6%. Again, the lower end rose a little bit more quickly because they don't cover jumbo mortgages. The lower end rose a little bit more quickly because there was more pressure put on that end. Right, so through November, they're saying that the annual appreciation so far through November is 6.6%. And as I said before, that number is going to be adjusted when the December numbers come in, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. But we'll give you those numbers in next month's report. What are we saying? Where people were projecting their prices were going to fall 5, 10, 15, 20, some even 25% in 2023. In reality, we're having a pretty good year. Matter of fact, we're having an above average year as far as prices are concerned. Now, some will argue, well, that's not true because the West Coast is getting killed. Well, let's take a look at that. This is the Case-Shiller 20-city index, and it breaks down the cities. And, cities like San Francisco, are they getting killed? No, actually, they had appreciation. Seattle, appreciation. Now, Portland, is that getting killed, losing 0.7%? I don't think it's getting killed, but that is the only city on the West Coast in the 20-city index that showed any depreciation whatsoever at all. Well, what about Las Vegas, Steve? Well, they're up. What about Phoenix? Well, they're up. They had a rough time and they're coming back out of that. And I believe that each one of those cities will show that they have a positive or appreciation, positive impact on prices through this year. Now, I get that there are some abnormalities to this, we're raising prices. I understand that Austin has a challenge. I understand that Boise has a challenge. We've discussed that over and over again using those two examples. But don't let people use those two examples to try to prove that prices across the country are falling. Those are two, again, anomalies for specific reasons that we've covered in the past. The majority of the country is doing extremely well. Now, the only index that's back yet that covers all the way through December is the Freddie Mac numbers. And they show December being very strong. It will be interesting to what takes place with the Case-Shiller numbers and the FHFA numbers, but they showed that December was very strong and November was very strong. So it's not like we're going to get a major shock in December. That's not going to take place. And looking at the Freddie Mac numbers going all the way back, 43 years, including this year, including 2023, I should say, what we can see is the 43-year average is 4.86%. So if we finish between 5 and 6, it's about Freddie Mac is saying it's going to be 7. It is 7. The final numbers are in. All right. We had a better than normal year as far as prices. And when people are buying houses, that appreciation is important to them. I get it. So we have a situation here. This is looking at the Freddie Mac numbers. 1 year, there's a 7%. That's what their final number is for 2023. Over 5 years, we're up 54%. Over 10 years, we're up over 100%. And over 30 years, we're about 300%. This is what we have to keep on talking to people about. Real estate might not be the best short-term investment. It's all according to when you buy and what's happening right at that moment in time. But as a long-term investment, it's the #1 reason for a majority of families that their net worth has gone up so dramatically over the last several years. Usually their home, the home they live in, is the greatest asset they own. What's taking place with future home appreciation? Let's go through that. Here are the latest, as of 1/29/2024, that's the latest reporting, all right, of the major forecasters and what they think is going to take place. And what we can see is that on average, we average all 8 together, it's 2.7%. I will tell you, at a fairness to Realtor.com, their last forecast was in November, right after interest rates, mortgage rates hit 8%. So they were looking at it from a different lens. I'm relatively sure, that the next time their forecast comes out, that number will be adjusted and probably adjusted into a green bar instead of a red bar. It's just it's taking them, they don't release as often as some of the other indexes do. But each of the other indexes are showing that we are going to see appreciation. And the interesting thing with each one of those is they've increased their level of appreciation over the last 2 months. Here's a breakdown of everyone but Realty.com, because they haven't come out with the new one yet. Here's a breakdown of where they stood 2 months ago versus where they stand today, all right? So the middle column is what their original forecast was for 2024 prices as of November 2023. And the right-hand column in bold is their current forecast. And we can see that some, adjusted it slightly. The home price expectation went up, 0.2%. The National Association of Realtors went up over 1%. We have Fannie Mae going over 0.4%. Zillow increased it over 3%. The Mortgage Bankers Association increased it 3%. Goldman Sachs increased it over 3%. So as we're coming into this year, there's much more positive about what's taking place. And people are adjusting based on that positive data that is coming in at the beginning of the year. Now, part of that data, very obviously, is the mortgage rates. So the one thing I want to make sure that I explain today, I am recording this on Monday, February 5th. It's the day after Jerome Powell did his 60-minute interview. And the 60-minute interview, which was a little bit all over the place, caused some, a little bit of nervousness in the market. And all of a sudden, rates, which had been under 7% for 6 weeks, I believe it was, all of a sudden today jumped a little bit over 7% as of this recording. And that's because the 10-year Treasury jumped up after the interview. And so already, while I'm speaking to you, it's already coming back down off the daily high. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. I don't want what happening this week to have an impact on what I'm about to tell you, because we're not talking about what it is today or tomorrow. We're talking about the trend of where mortgage rates have gone. Here's the trend right now. 3 months ago, 4 months ago, they were at 8%. People are getting all concerned. They're now at 7%. That means they went down a full percentage point, right? And where are they going to be a year from now or 6 months from now is what's important. Not what they're going to be 60 seconds from now. But people are getting a little bit caught up in the short term when we're really looking at long-term trends or longer-term trends. Now, if we look at it as of the Friday before I'm recording this, the mortgage rate was 6.92%. And that's made up of two things, as we've discussed before. The spread was at 2.9, still elevated over where it would normally be at about 1.7. So if that number just got back to the 50-year average, right, we'd already be in the 5%. All right. And the bottom number at 4.02, that's the number that rose today, pushing the mortgage rate over 7%. So let's take a look at those two things. Number one, the spread. The spread is not always consistent. It actually widens during periods of economic or geopolitical uncertainty. It has been the case in today's market. That's from Odetta Cushing, Deputy Chief Economist at First American. So what she's saying, times of economic uncertainty and geopolitical uncertainty, that number spreads, or increases, I should say. All right, that spread increases. And when that increases, that has an impact on mortgage rates. Where are we right now? Well, geopolitically, there's still a lot of uncertainty. What's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in Ukraine. Economically, a lot of that uncertainty is gone. Consumers are very, very, very confident. Employment is very strong. All right, so the challenges of, well, here comes a recession. I'm not saying there won't be a recession, but I'm pretty sure now that if there is one, it's going to be the softest of all landings. If there's somebody in that plane right now asleep, they might not wake up when that plane lands. That's how soft that landing is going to be. So I think that spread will start to come down closer. Will it go to the 1.72, the 50-year average? Maybe not. But even if it came down, just to 2, we'd have almost another drop, full percentage drop in mortgage rates. A primary driver of the increase in the yield, now we're talking about the bottom section, that blue section that just went up, was inflation expectations. So the higher the current rate of inflation, and more importantly, the higher the expected future rates of inflation, the higher the yield of the 10-year as investors demand to be compensated for that inflation risk into the future. And that's why that jumped a little bit today, ladies and gentlemen. Most people expected that Powell was going to say, hey, listen, we got inflation under control and we have nothing to worry about it. And some people were even, including me, were thinking that maybe even in March, we'd actually get a reduction in rate. A rate cut instead of it just pausing. Well, last night on television, he was like, well, we're not 100% sure inflation's under control. We're pretty sure, we're almost definitely sure, but we're not 100% sure. And that alone, him saying we're not 100% sure, rattles me. And that's why it ticked up. I think that probably by the time you listen to this, everyone's already going to be calmed down. But I just want to let you know that through the month, there might be some rattling. But what do we really know about inflation? We might not be at the place where they're ready to cut rates, the Fed rate, but we're getting real close. There is reason to believe that the rate lock-in, now we're going to shift a little bit, we're doing rate lock-in effect, meaning homeowners are stuck in their house because they have a 3 or 4% rate and they don't want to buy a house at a 7% rate, all right? That the rate lock-in effect will ease modestly this year as mortgage rates come down. I want you to listen closely to Mark Fleming's next sentence. And you can only imagine if they got below 6, then even more people would be again in the money and homeowners will become less anchored to that low rate that they got a few years ago. So what he's talking about is the fact that the lock-in rate, that's what he was concentrating on, that the lock-in rate will ease as we go into this year as mortgage rates continue to come down. But the part that I liked was that middle sentence. And you can only imagine if they got below 6. Well, I can't imagine what's going to happen if they get below 6. And we are calling here at KCM that they will be below 6 and by mid-year. Now, remember, 5.99 is below 6. I'm not saying they're going to go to 5%. I think they're going to go below 6. And Mark Fleming is kind of hinting that they might. He said, you can only imagine. This is what I imagine. Well, heck, it's going to break loose. We're going to have a phenomenal, I think we're going to have a great first half of the year. I think we're going to have a great buying season. And I think we're going to gain momentum as the year goes on, as rates continue to tumble. Okay? Now, we'll talk about what happens if they don't in a second, because there's a lot of things we can take a look at. But that's where we think we are right now. Now, as far as that 6% number, because you might think I'm crazy, you might think Mark Fleming's crazy. Here's Dean Baker, the senior economist, Center for Economic Research, senior economist for the Center of Economic Research. It also appears that the mortgage rates are now falling again. They will almost certainly not fall to pandemic levels, that 4%. Although we may soon see rates under 6%, which would be low by pre-Great Recession standards. So I'm not saying rates sometime this year are going to be below 6. I'm not the only one saying that. Mark Fleming's hinting at it. Dean Baker is out saying. As a matter of fact, Doug Duncan, Senior Vice President, Chief Economist at Fannie Mae, we anticipate that after the past several years of extreme volatility in interest rates, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage rate will continue to moderate over the course of 2024, moving toward a rate below 6% by year end. Now, we are a little bit more optimistic. We think it might be before year end. But ladies and gentlemen, there's someone else saying, hey, we might see a 5 at the beginning. And when that happens, again, all heck is going to break loose. As a matter of fact, they actually did their projections. Now, just in December of 2023, their projections are in the middle for the 4 quarters of 2024. They adjusted them downward pretty significantly. And now they're saying, we're saying mid-year they're going to be under 6. They're saying by mid-year they're going to be just about 6. Let's not quill over a couple of tenths of a point. They're saying their rates will continue to fall. And I happen to agree with them, especially in quarters 3 and quarters 4. Now, the question is, what does this mean to you? Your understanding of what is truly happening with pricing, your understanding of what is truly happening with mortgaging is important. I'm not arguing that. But remember, that understanding only makes you a good agent. Great agents not only understand it, they can explain it. So what I need every one of you to do is in any prospecting you do, I don't care if it's in door knocking, I don't care if it's in direct mail, I don't care if it's in social media, I don't care if it's doing a podcast, I don't care if it's doing a blog and repeating up. Anything, any prospecting you do, you have to get the message out there. 2 messages. Number 1, prices are still in good shape. And number two, mortgage rates from a period of time, the trend is that mortgage rates are going down. And it's crucially important that you double down on anything that you're doing right now. Double down, because you have to be seen. The secret to success this year is that the great agents will dominate the transactions. And I've already explained to you, I see you as one of the great agents. You're on this monthly market report listing right now. You have the desire to be the best. And that will enable you to do just that. So where we're going at right now, we have to get, not just know this information, not just understand this information. We have to get out there and explain exactly what's taking place. And if you do that enough, ladies and gentlemen, if enough people have the same gut feeling about you, then you have a brand. I hear all these people talking about, well, I need a brand, I need a brand. You know what you need? You need the people that have a gut feeling that you know what you're talking about when it comes to housing. You want to have people have a gut feeling that whatever question they have about the housing market right now, whether they should buy or whether they should sell, you're the person to go to. You want people to have a gut feeling that they can trust you, that you rely on, that you're going to tell them the truth. Because when they have a gut feeling about you, you already have a brand. So in everything you do, let's make sure we get that message out. I talked to you before. You're going to meet people at the child soccer game. You're going to meet people after your Saturday and Sunday services. You're going to meet people all over. You're going to meet people at the deli. And conversations are going to come up about housing. It's going to be a big issue this year. It's going to be one of the major issues because it's an election year. People are going to be talking about it a lot. People are going to wonder, is it getting better? Is it time? Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you, because you're a KC member, you have access to so much great information to fill your social media posts, to do a blog of your own, just use our blog, to use our stuff in your mailings, whether it be direct mail or whether it be email. You have so much great content to share with them. But don't forget, let's get it on our phones too. The business where everyone's talking about transactions. Let's shift that thinking a little bit to relationships. Because if we have a lot of good relationships, guess what will follow? The transactions. And to be seen and trusted, to give somebody a gut feeling that you know what you're talking about. When you're talking, they don't flip out your phone. There's a reason the saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words, has lasted for 1,000 years. It's not because it's not true. It's because it is true. Throw that up to them. Hey, listen, let me show you exactly what's happening. In previous editions, we've given you the foreclosures and different things. Foreclosures are still way low. You should have that on your phone. And I know you have pictures of what you ate at dinner last night on your phone. I know you have pictures of your darling children on your phone. I know you still have pictures of your Christmas decorations on your phone, or your holiday decorations. Let's get some things about your career on your phone, on what you do for a living on your phone. So when those conversations come up, you are helping them. And I want you to know there's 3 key terms that will impact the 2024 housing market, and we have to really embrace these terms. Number one, switching costs. So switching costs is a term to describe the economic and psychological costs people feel when switching from one alternative to another, switching from cable TV to Netflix and subscription television streaming. What I want us to think is switching from a 4% mortgage rate to a 6.5%. They're thinking about that now, that switching costs. And at 6.5, they're thinking about it a lot. 5.99, everyone's going to be thinking about it. But understand the concept of switching costs. People are analyzing that. And it doesn't have to be an apple-to-apple comparison. It's got to be close. Number 2, seller impatience is a term to describe overcoming the sticker shock that has prevented people from moving on with their lives. Think of it as it is what it is. There are going to be more people now in situations that, their rate is low and the next house they're going to buy, the rate's going to be a little bit higher, but it's time to make the move. They only worried about the money for a while, but now they're saying, you know what? I'm kind of getting used to it. The buyers got over the sticker shock almost immediately. We were shocked at that. Well, now we're starting to see more and more sellers getting over the sticker shock and getting the house on the market. And number 3, lifestyle changes. It's a term to describe life events that motivate a move. Think pregnancy, marriage, divorce, all those things that happen every day. And we should have to put those three things together: switching costs, seller impatient, and lifestyle changes. It's all right. When every time we're talking to someone, let's put all three of those through our head. They're thinking about how much it's going to cost them to make the switch. They're impatient. They want to make the switch. And things are happening in their life that in many cases they need to make the switch. But realize none of those 3 points have anything to do with numbers. Not really. Each talks about people dealing with things. It talks about people dealing with the numbers. It talks about people getting over the sticker shock. It talks about people understanding that things are changing in their life. And then I go back to what I said before. For a period of time, this became a transaction business. There were so many transactions we could barely keep ahead of. We have to go back to making this business what it always was, a relational business. People always ask, how come KCM gets so many of their forecasts right compared to other companies that spend millions of dollars doing their forecasts? Because what no one else gets is this is all about people. Residential real estate is about people. And between me and you, people sometimes are crazy. They do things that, like, normal people, you would say, normally a person wouldn't do that. But their home is important. It means a lot. Maybe they should move from their house up in New York down to someplace in North Carolina for a ton of different reasons. But their grandkids live in North Carolina. They're moving. Forecasters can't figure that out. Commercial real estate, you can do that by the numbers. That's a numbers game. Residential real estate is a people's game. At KCM, the biggest metric we include in all our forecasting is human behavior. As much as we can figure it out, we will. And that's why we're so close on so many things. I'm gonna give you a 90-day plan to finish this up. Please promote home price stability. We're not out of that woods yet. There's still too many people. There's twice as many people that should be thinking about that than normal. Let's do that. Forecast the mortgage rate. Let them know the mortgage rate is trending down. Don't worry about the day-to-day number. What's the trend? And the trend is downward. Get the slides on your phone. Every single conversation you have, don't depend on your brilliance to articulate the point. Show them a picture. Let them see it for themselves. Seth Godin says a great thing. People never believe what you tell them. They always believe what they tell themselves. Don't tell them the market's getting better or this is happening. Show them. Build your brand on social. If you're not using everything that KCM has given you in your social, you're making a gigantic mistake. And one of the biggest mistakes is, ladies and gentlemen, we have to do videos. If you take a look at just what we do at KCM to promote KCM, video after video after video. And I know some of you aren't the best looking people in the world. I get that. I'm not either. But I still let them put my face out on that. Because you know what I know? The people that listen to what I have to say don't really care what I look like. They care what they're learning when they're listening. Same thing here. Don't wait until you get better looking. Don't wait until you lose 25 pounds. Start today. Get those videos out. Use Real Talk. We make it as simple as pie for you. Prospect, prospect, prospect. Load the shelves up with listings because the door's about to break down. It's going to be like a Black Friday for real estate in the whole year of 2024. Make sure you have plenty of stuff on the shelves. And most important, nothing more important, nothing close. Never forget who you are. You are the best of the best. The people are thinking about buying and selling in your marketplace should use you. They'll get the best service. They'll get the best results. Understand that. Believe that. Trust in that. You go out there and help as many people as you possibly can. You got through 2023. You survived it. There were a lot of times you got knocked down. You kept on getting back up. You paid the price to be where you are today. Realize that. And realize you have the power to dominate, not do well, dominate 2024. Well, as I end every single month, the market report, I'll do the same now. Never forget.
All right, awesome. That was a good one today. I'd love to hear some of your guys' takeaways so we can discuss that. And something I wanted to bring up because, you know, a lot of you attend this call every single week, and it's evident by our positive focus today. So some of the interesting things that he said is doubling down on your business, right? And what sets us apart is relationships, prospecting, and presenting ourselves as an expert and showing them, not telling them. And that's exactly what our positive focus was about today. Everybody that shared, it was around relationships or prospecting or showing them versus telling them, and presenting yourself as an expert, setting yourself apart. So your time here on these trainings are valued, and you're taking really great stuff from them. So great job. Continue to do that. Like, you guys are showing up as experts in your market, and it shows. So continue to come to these trainings. We do this one once a month to keep us apprised of what's happening. Another thing he said that was interesting, and this may be on your list as well, is going into specifics about doubling down. And I was thinking about the trainings that we've done over the last 6 months. And if you think about the trainings that we've done and doubling down, here are some just off the top of my head that goes along with what he was talking about. So number one, database marketing, right? Relationships, keeping those things going, making sure people know you're a choice, making sure they remember you, because they already know, like, and trust you, but they have to remember you when it comes time to making decisions about housing. Secondly, listing marketing, right? How to maximize your opportunities to make sure that you're getting the most out of every opportunity that you have. Social media best practices. He really hammered on it in the end, right? Talking about putting yourself out there, whether you're, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't even matter where you're at or what you're doing, but putting yourself out there. Call reluctance and how to push through. We just had that call a couple weeks ago, right? So if you're struggling with prospecting, that's a great video to go back to and find out what are the reasons so that you can move forward. Of course, this housing market, right? And putting those slides on your phone. We talk about this housing market and how we're going to use it. We've talked about many times, like what videos we're going to shoot after this, because we just listened to this. Creating systems in your business. We talk a lot about that, how to automate things so that you're not reinventing the wheel every single time. Other ways to double down that we've already talked about in our trainings. Niches, right? What's a niche that's special to you? We talked about that in positive focus too. Kathy brought up the car. Creating relationships, becoming the expert. And then lastly, story branding. When he mentioned those three of the switching costs, seller impatience, and lifestyle changes, that's all about presenting that in a story branding way where the person is the hero instead of you. And he talked about that. It's not about the numbers. It's about them. It's about what they're feeling for switch costs. It's about what they're feeling about being impatient and want to make a move, but they're not sure how or why. Help them with that. Get them thinking about it. And then lifestyle changes. There are just people that have to move. And so really making the story about them shows other people it's safe to make housing decisions right now. So I'd love to hear any takeaways you guys had, and anything that you loved about this one. Yes, ready to take over the world. Steve Harney is so good. Yes, today was great. Let's go 2024. Love these trainings. Always good information. Yes. So keep showing up. We cover lots of great things, and our whole purpose is to help you guys grow a business that you love and a life you can't wait to wake up to, right? We want these businesses to serve you, not the business to take over our lives. Yes, video sells, just get started. He talked about some easy ones, right away. You don't have to be an expert on anything. You can say the general trend is mortgage rates are going to go down or are trending downward, and if you're worried about if you should buy or sell, give me a call. And then you can share those slides with them. I love what he said about having them on your phone. He's so right? We all have stuff on our phone, like my dog, I don't really take pictures of what I eat, but there's probably some of those on there, whatever. But I don't have my KCM stuff on there. Yes, don't worry about what you look like. Just hit go live and let it rip. For sure. Philip said, I do a monthly live video podcast with another agent and it's fun. That's awesome. And such a good point. Make it fun, right? It doesn't have to be this big drag. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining today. I will drop the slides in those places I showed you in the beginning. Next week, our training is, let me find it. It's a good one. It is referral marketing, upgrading your referral marketing system so you can create that world-class experience for your clients. So a do not miss. It's part of your double down tactics for 2024. So really good job, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day. We will see you next week. And I look forward to seeing all your videos out there on social. Take care.